Hi, and welcome. Today's topic is going to be around navigating change, whether it's a new year, a new relationship, new beginnings. And I have a special guest, Jess Condy, with me. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, I always have fun playing with you. So we met several years ago in Bali, and the adventure continues. You, of course, are on a grand adventure as a yacht chef around the world. And now you're at home. Is that right? You're home for a little while?
Yeah, I'm back in South Africa seeing the family after 16 months. So it's beautiful to be back.
Wow, brilliant. So I was thinking that one of the important topics people are navigating right now is really around starting over. Like when the world is not what we thought it was, or what we expected, or change comes on us unexpectedly, or it's a new year and we want to set some new goals, new ways of being. Right. Some people call them New Year's resolutions. I don't really like that because by the end of January, everyone's, has all this negative self-talk around it all. So curious how you think about it and how you navigate it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's been a challenging time for us all. And I think as we are like moving towards the new year, it is time to have a look at that stuff and kind of take a little like snapshot of like where you are and where you want to go and what are the things that you want to create. And I think looking back, we can often see that the things we did before really didn't work for us. It's like beating ourselves into submission is not going to work, especially for women. Women can be so hard on themselves and then they wonder why they're not getting the results that they want. And it's like, has that ever worked for us? So I think like the invitation to kind of be kinder and more gentle with ourselves and to do things that are actually true for us. It's like, let's get rid of the people pleasing and let's start doing what's real for us. And I think also getting honest with ourselves. I think that's the hardest thing we have to do. It's like the hardest thing to do is to tell ourselves the actual truth. Like this is the actual situation. It's not like maybe or perhaps, but the actual situation is like, I'm not happy where I'm at with my weight. I'm not happy where I'm at in this relationship. I'm not happy where I'm at my career. Okay, great. No one's coming to save us. We all know this. So we have got to do what Gandhi always said, like be the change we wish to be. Like we have got to start showing up for ourselves in those areas of our life. So we've got to start looking at them. I think we've got to take a honest view of where we're at and say, okay, what can I do to move myself closer to where I want to be? And how can I take myself seriously doing this but not beat myself during the process? I think that the negative self-talk and all that stuff doesn't get us any closer to where we want to be. So it's like, what are the habits and what support can I bring in? Because I think we create our habits and then our habits create us. But I think having the right support in place is so important through these transitions because it's hard, it's tough. And I think we need someone to be able to support us and to hold the space. Like any professional athletes or most professionals had a coach to get them there. And we know what it's like in the coaching world. People need us to hold that space and to not to hold their hand, but to help them navigate the challenges along the way, show them the blind spots.
So let's talk weight loss. I think a very common experience, a very common goal, getting out of a relationship, starting a new year, starting a new job, wanting to look good, feel good, all of that. So one of the challenges that I find most is that when we get into a place of almost desperately wanting something to change, we go for the quick fix. So the quickest thing that's around, well, then, no ice cream for me and double the length of the workout and whatever it is. I think the really important thing is to think a little bit deeper around whatever it is you'd like to change. So you mentioned a few pieces of this. In weight loss, it can be around what we're putting into our mouth and how much we're moving. Absolutely. You also mentioned self-talk. And how is it that we speak to ourselves and ultimately then feel inside of ourselves because of how we speak to ourselves? Who do we surround ourselves with? You spoke of support. And so let's explore a few of these. I used to lead a workshop called "What Are You Hungry For?" Because it's not the food.
Absolutely.
And it was really about when people eat at times when they're not hungry, that it's being driven by something else in their life. So a need to change how their body feels due to emotions or that are uncomfortable, or sadness in their life, disappointment, right? Which is now being fueled by that negative self-talk. So why are these industries, weight loss industries, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, all these industries, why do they do so well? Because if this was about the number of calories you have at breakfast and what you're eating at dinner and the combination of it all, if it was solely about that, we'd have this figured out.
Yeah.
But this is about being in balance with ourselves. And the most obvious way that it shows up is in our physical body. That place is how we are then perceived and judged in the world, so we say, or so we think, right? And it's also fueled by our inner world. So, I remember a few years ago when I had gained quite a bit of weight, sitting and writing a book. Okay, it also happened a few months ago, let's be honest here. And I know that roller coaster because what I have to get me through writing is a cup of chai made with coconut milk. And the warmth of it, the taste of it can fuel me even when I get tired. So what's your comfort go-to? Like when you need to change how you feel inside, how do you do it?
It depends what kind of comfort I'm looking for, but I mean, I'm a coffee girl, so I love a really good oat milk flat white. Like that's my happy place. But and I'm definitely a chocoholic. That's my that's my guilty pleasure, is really good dark chocolate.
Love it. So I think something really important would be to first notice when, let's say my jeans are tight and it's hard for me to button them, right? The first thing I notice is going from expandable pants and sweats to actual clothing, which reminds me that something's changed, even though I didn't notice. In that moment, I find myself beating myself up. What's wrong with you? You totally lost control. Get it together. Get it together. Because look, now this is going to be uncomfortable. You deserve this. I can go into a whole a whole cycle, right?
Me too.
Yeah.
I think we all do. I think we all do. Even though it's something that I coach people on, I can find when I've completely fallen off track, I've heard those conversations with myself, and they're not pretty.
And so I'm going to propose a new way that we do this. Mm-hmm. As a doctor, I decided to see the beauty in the body and its ability to expand. And so the new way that I speak to myself around this is around having grace and compassion. So lately, what I've been doing is saying to myself, thank you, body, when I notice this tightness or whatever it is, thank you, body, for expanding to absorb the stress that I couldn't. As soon as I can, I will take over. How does that strike you?
I absolutely love that. And I think it's so important for us to start looking at this through a different lens, because for so long we've just been hurting on the inside and not trusting our bodies and not feeling safe in our bodies. And as women in particular, our most fundamental need is to feel safe. And not being able to feel safe within our own bodies is a pretty scary feeling. And I think having a different conversation with ourselves is so important. And the self-talk and how we connect with ourselves. It's like, how are we connecting with ourselves in this process of this discomfort and this Like, because we are uncomfortable, we're feeling upset, there's pain there, there's past trauma, whatever it is. But how are we relating to ourselves and our body in that time, in those moments of in those moments of pain? How are we relating to ourselves and giving ourselves that grace and compassion?
And I think also another way to start tuning in is literally to slow down. When I'm craving something, a cup of chai, whatever it is, the idea that I, slow down a little bit and enjoy the aroma, that I put my lip on the cup and literally feel the warmth moving down my throat, that I don't make myself bad or wrong for whatever it is that I need in this moment of stress or difficulty. But it's almost like, is there a way that I can be a little more mindful of it? Notice what sensations are happening in my body that tell me I need it. And then be kind, like I would to the younger version of myself. And so I created this little paperweight of a version of myself when I was struggling. And it looks a little bit like me now with the curly hair and all of that. And whenever I'm struggling, I remember her, and I am the adult that maybe in that moment she needed. How would I treat her? So as I reach for whatever will comfort me, I try to do it with the angle of this younger self in mind, and I'm kind to her. I wouldn't be mean or rude to a little kid who wanted something or was asking for something. So that's another way that when I'm soothing myself, I do it consciously, I do it intentionally, mindfully, and I do it and treat myself like I would if I was cradling that little girl.
That's beautiful. I love that.
So for any of you that know that you would like to create a new goal, a new balance that you would like to come into with your body, please don't only focus on a physical level. Pay attention to the self-talk that's going on in your head. Pay attention to what you're saying to yourself about what's happened. Can you find a way to thank your body for its ability to expand? It's kind of a miracle that the body can expand to absorb the stress that we cannot in this moment. What an incredible physiological feat it is that the body does this balancing mechanism and gives us feedback. We're a little tighter in our jeans, right? What a gentle way to say, hey, knock, 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 pay attention, something's changing. So thank you, Jess. Thank you for your attention, for your wisdom, for all the women that you help in the world. And I think it's time to have a little mindful chocolate as I sip some of my chai.
Absolutely. I'm going to go and grab some now. Some gorgeous 70% dark chocolate.
So beautiful. And the other thing I would say is that I need less of it when I'm mindful with it, because I feel more satisfied. You know that idea when you scarf it all
Completely.
down, you didn't even taste it, right? So it's like, then you get the guilt that comes after all of that, which then makes you only want more of something to soothe you. So let's all avoid that cycle. And as we make our goals moving forward, let's do them mindfully. Let's do them holistically. Let's pay attention to what's underneath them. So this time, you not only reach your goal, but you change your relationship between the food that nourishes you and your body and your self-talk. Any last thoughts, Jess?
No, I love what you're saying there. And I think it is, for me, food is the largest act of self-care we can do for the body, but do it in a mindful way. Slow down and get present in all areas of your life. and kind of watch things change and transform. It's like when you slow down and connect with yourself and then you live life from that place, everything's very different.
Thank you.
Thank you.